Beats for sale. Beats for sale. Beats for sale. This is Lava. No, this is not that.
So how much did you pay for the speech? For the speech. And how many times you have to do?
Let your song fill the open sky and fly around the world on every hill, to every heart and soul. And I heard you call in the night when the storm was raging high. Your gentle song,
Mr. and Mrs. Anthony Lewis,
like a lullaby, and
Mrs. Daisy Dusk,
lift us on your golden wings to the beauty of
Mr. and Mrs. Iris and Mr. Symphony, Mr. and Mrs. Raja,
we'll be there.
Mr. Koon
No come,
In Kem.
let the clouds ring with every sound. Stars will come alive.
Mr. Leong Ho San,
The rivers and the towns
Mrs. Lily Chinaya,
in the way. Let your song fill the
Mr. and Mrs. Guru Nair, Mr. Raymond Peter,
the dormant countryside and
Mr. S. Asokan,
lift us on your golden wings to the beauty of the
Mr. and Mrs. S. Sakasiram,
take us home again. We'll be there.
Mr. S. K. Somu,
Sing, oh Carmel, let your song fill the open sky and fly
Mr. S. K. Somu,
on every hill to every high.
Mr. Satyawan Singh, Mr. Singham Ponampalam, Mr. T. K. Lee, Mr. S. B. Segran, Mr. Jamie Manyam, Dr. Vasudevan Nair, Mrs. Saro Bhaskran, and Mr. Bhaskran. Come friends, please kindly. Come on. Up on stage, please friends.
Thank you.
Sing, oh Carmel, let your song fill the open sky.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I request everyone to kindly rise and give these heroes and heroines of the faith during the early days in Malacca a standing ovation and a thunderous round of applause. A thunderous round of applause. Now these friends have come from far and near to be here with us tonight, and we really appreciate a seat, all our heroes and heroines. Thank you very much for being here.
The dawn and countryside, and you're gonna like the highway.
Special round of applause for Uncle Kit Yin Kiang, please, friends.
Be witnessing in the future, and that is calling upon the dawn breakers of this country who are here. They need not be from Malacca, but from various parts of this country. I would like to call upon them. They are the first batch of Baha'is to have accepted the faith in this country, particularly during the 10-year crusade period. You know, friends, when the Guardian called upon the launching of the 10-year crusade period, he called it the spiritual conquest of the entire planet. And many of them had not accepted the faith by chance. If you look back at the history and the contribution, the indelible services that they had left behind, you would agree with me that they had been singled out and handpicked by Baha'u'llah himself. History speaks for itself. Now again, each had a role to play. Now I'm very sorry I have to take some of your time on the request of the organizers to call upon these people. I'm not here to give the entire life history of these people. There is a different forum, and that is in the Malaysian Baha'i News when the right time comes. But at this point of time, I would like to just say a few things, salient aspects of what they have done for this country. Now, they are not here, or not all of them are here. Among those who are present here, I'd like to call upon these dedicated souls, these torchbearers of the faith of Baha'u'llah to step up, and this will be the last or one of the few opportunities when you will be witnessing the dying race. They may not be there. The 10-year crusade Baha'is may not be with us forever and ever. Now, let me call upon the oldest Baha'i in Baha'i age, the oldest Baha'i who is still alive, and that is Mr. K. Somu. Mr. Somu, he accepted the faith by accident while he was watching a football game or hockey game in 1955. Immediately after that, he was very active, and the parents put him under house arrest during daytime, and he started to attend Baha'i events at night. This is Somu. Next comes Anthony Lewis, who accepted the faith on the eve of Christmas 1957. He is the first Eurasian from the Portuguese descent to have accepted the faith. He is also the first in the Baha'i community to be excommunicated by his original community, that is the Christian community. His life was threatened, and he has to stay for 3 months with another Baha'i. Now, if you look back at what happened in 1964, you'll agree with me that he is truly an embodiment of true steadfastness in the Kavan of Baha'u'llah. He is about the earliest to have sang the Baha'i anthem that was started in this community. He was also one of the earliest to have served in the LBYC, and is one of the originators of Sunday classes in Malacca Baha'i School in 1958. I would like to call upon his beloved wife, Madam Swan Nyo, who had also been a strong supporter of the husband as well as the faith. Now, the problem that they made was this. They worked in the second LBYC and ended up in marriage. Can I call upon now Mr. Kumara Das, who accepted the faith in 1957. Now, actually, Mr. Leong Tachi targeted his father. The father missed, and he was caught while eating noodles in a Chinese shop. Okay? And he was all along called the life wire of any community he served in. Started out with Malacca. He's the only Baha'i, along with Anthony Lewis, who do not need loudspeakers. They speak for themselves. And he had given the faith in the early days to all the prominent people in this country, especially in, not all, but many of the prominent people who were eminently placed in society, the non-Baha'is, people of capacity. He had pioneered to Terengganu along with his wife when things were very difficult in those days. He was transformed while he was a driver. He was the driver when Hand of the Cross of God Samandari visited this country in 1966. So here is Kumara Das. We have his beloved wife again, Daisy Das. Daisy Das has something which many of us don't have. Her trademark is the gentle and warm smile. That may explain why Kumara Das had been tamed down very much. Now she is one of the Baha'is who really radiates a strong support of the institutions and shield and protection for her own husband. Again, friends, I would like to go on to the next person whom you would agree is part and parcel of our own soul, and that is Mr. Leong Ho San. Now, Mr. Leong Ho San deliberately waited for a particular day to accept the faith, and that was on the day Baha was born. That was on the 20th of October 1957. He worked in the first and second LBYC in Malacca. He worked very closely with Dr. R.J. Wolf, who came to this country to study the dietary habits of the Asli believers. He had attended the ceremony for the laying of the foundation stone of the Frankfurt Temple on the 4th of July 1964. He is the first among the Malaysian Baha'is to have been allowed to pass a night in Bahaji, the building where Baha'u'llah himself passed away in 1892. He had visited the houses of Bab and Baha'u'llah in Shiraz and in Tehran, respectively, in August 1968. He also went and visited the Isfahan shrines. Can I call upon now Mr. Purushottam Nair, who accepted the faith in 1958 as a student in Malacca High School. He was a student of Kumara Das and Anthony Lewis. You can see both of them standing together on the stage. Now, Mr. Nair had gone around the country. He had served in many parts of the country in the armed forces. Therefore, he was a Baha'i nomad. He was not sticking to any particular community. But all along, wherever he served, he was strong in the faith and he had given support to all the Baha'i activities. You may remember what happened in the July 1973 conference or summer school in Ipoh. He had been steadfast, and his house was the first pilot test for the 9-day teaching campaign ever to be organized in this country, in Subang Jaya. Can I have Madam Annie Leong here, 1957. She accepted the faith in 1957. The moment she accepted the faith, she was posted to Segamat as a nurse, and she was a real comfort and consolation to many Baha'is who were aspiring to form communities there. I will call upon Madam Lily Chinaya now. Okay. Lily is somebody on whom I need not expand further. You know very well that she was instrumental in developing, along with other Baha'is, communities like Jasin, Alor Gaja and Masjid Tana. She, along with early Baha'i women, had shown the way for women in this country to rise to great heights of service. Mr. Singham Ponnambalam, who accepted the faith in 1957. Now in 1960, he hitchhiked from Malacca to India, then to Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran and England to do his Bachelor of Science. Now he's settled in Switzerland. But whenever any opportunity comes by, he makes it a point to visit the Baha'i communities. Right? His wife is working in the Baha'i International Community in Switzerland, Geneva. Raymond Peter. Now he was transferred at the last moment from Alor Gaja to Jasin, and he had been transferred from place to place. Even where's Raymond? Raymond. Even before becoming Baha'i, he was involved in estate teaching. He was one of the earliest Baha'is to have involved in estate teaching in this country in 1957. You may remember his first test was to make a decision between obeying the institutions or not. The moment he decided to obey the local spiritual assembly on an important matter, he says that that was a turning point in his life. He was the first to have developed some form of publications, especially a commemorative issue on the first visit of the Hand of the Cross of God, Ahmadul Baha, to this country. Raymond is also one of the earliest to have developed teaching aids and some deepening materials, especially when the Leong Tachi Institute was developed. He was instrumental in opening up Masjid Tanah as well as other areas for Chinese teaching. That is something new. Having not understood the Tamil language, he was doing estate teaching, and not being Chinese, he was involved in Chinese teaching, and that is Raymond. He pioneered to Ceylon in 1869. Now we have also another person who is affectionately called the walking dictionary. Even now is walking, and that is Bhaskara Nair. He accepted the faith in 1959. He has always been called living dictionary, and he was a treasure trove of information. Bhaskaran was the permanent member of this community who was permanently conducting quiz sessions because he was the only person at that time they say was most knowledgeable. Alright? So he was actually a referral point on all matters pertaining to the writings as far as he knew. Whenever people had differences, he was there to clarify. He was the first editor of a news organ called the Berita Baha'i, and when the National Spiritual Assembly was formed, hold on, when you all pass away, I'll write more, hold on. So, this is because Raymond has not read my book, he says. These are all taken from the book, Jewel Among Nations, and these are Jewel Among Baha'is. Friends, so he was the first editor of the NTC's newsletter and also the first editor of a short-lived Baha'i magazine which was produced by the NSA of Malaysia. He was and is and shall ever be remembered as the first Baha'i family to have pioneered from this country in 1973. Can we have another prominent Baha'i lady who has shown the way to many Baha'is as one has to be steadfast in the faith even if the person had to marry a non-Baha'i, and that is Ines Gopinath. Now Ines Gopinath, together with her brother William Goren, had opened up, please come, had opened up, no, they don't know you, I know you, they don't know you, please come on. Together with William Goren, they had opened up the LSA of Mua, formed the LSA of Mua, and that was called the Mother Assembly of Johor Community. Together with Leong Tachi, she had gone travel teaching to Mercy, and Bhaskaran was there to give helping hand during Nowruz. When she got married, she told her husband that she would remain a Baha'i, and here we have Dr. Gopi, who had given her all the freedom. Another example as to how non-Baha'i should behave with the wives, the Baha'i wives. And Gopi is one of the closest friends I have. He quietly told me he did not sign up after reading the Baha'i writings, but he saw the life of the wife and decided to become Baha'i. So here is a person who would leave the life and made somebody else accept the faith. The sign of steadfastness. Now we are going to have one of the most, in my opinion, the most talented Baha'i in those days, and that is Dr. Vasudevan. Friends, you know him, his presence at any meeting makes all the difference. Together with people like Ingam Chenaya, an able speaker, able administrator, most talented, most humble, they say, and he makes all the differences in all the gatherings. The moment he enters any gathering, there is a difference. You will witness this tomorrow. He is truly an embodiment of obedience to institutions. You do not know how much he loved and served Mohajir. He was the first in this country, in our history, to be appointed auxiliary board member of a different country even before going there. That was, Mohajir appointed him board member in the NSA room in Kuala Lumpur, and he said, I'm appointing you as board member for Sri Lanka. And he had not even bought the passport, not even ticket. There was something new, and Mohajir himself went and spoke to the headmaster to release him. That has never happened to any other person. Now he is the first Malaysian to have pioneered to India in '66. We again have another rare personality, and that is Satyawan Singh Malhotra. He was a driver, he accepted faith in '61. He was a driver to Amatul Baha, and he told Amatul Baha that he was about to cut off his turban. And Amatul Baha said that you are going to attend the First World Congress as you are. So when he went to London in 1963, according to him, he was the center of attraction like a zoo animal. That's what he said. Now he seems to be more civilized, you know. Kashmir, you see, I'm sure, also civilized. Now friends, now if you look at the history, look back, you will know that there are two things. These people have rendered so many services beyond our imagination, and this very type of calling, this 6-year crusade, 10-year crusade Baha'is, is something that this very hall or this very Malaysian Baha'i community may not witness in the future. These are the people we always say belong to the dying race, and I'm very thankful to the organizers who have given me this rare privilege of honoring these rare personalities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Manisegaran, for that short walk down history. That was really very enlightening to me, especially. All right, to know the history of all these jewels of the nation. And friends, as you know, tonight is actually a special night to pay tribute to all these heroes and heroines of the faith in Malacca during the early days. And as you know, after Uncle Yokachi, who was my uncle after he passed away, he was the first jewel of the nation in Malaysia, and he passed the torch over to the Baha'is, many of whom you've seen tonight. All right, and it gives me great pleasure to invite the oldest Baha'i, Mr. S.K. Somu, to come up here to light the candles of that the youths are going to hold tonight as a symbol of passing the torch to the youth for their sacrifice, love, and service. Please welcome Mr. S.K. Somu. He doesn't know. Please give him a round of applause. He's not performing the tango dance. Can we invite the youths up here now? Can we have the lights on?
Okay. Okay then.
Thank you, Uncle Somo. You used to call me Somo. Please, a warm round of applause for Mr. Somo.
die to the world and so be born.
You want to use?
When I was talking to my dearly loved niece early in the week, Safura, and I was saying to her that we were arriving on Wednesday, she was saying, you know, when we go to Malacca, every time we go to Malacca, it's like balik kampung. So for me, this weekend is balik kampung. When Irene sent me the program, she said that the topic that was given to me was answering the Nightingale's call, the faith through my father's eyes. And so you can see here, there is a nightingale that is sitting on the boughs of the tree of eternity, warbling his sweet melodies. As many of you know, this verse He is the King, the all-knowing, the wise. Lo, the nightingale of paradise singeth upon the twigs of the tree of eternity. Now, Father loved the tablet of Ahmad. It was one of his favorite prayers. He was very good in saying prayers, and he made his children say prayers. We were given a prayer book right from the very beginning, and this is how we learned the tablet of Ahmad. There's another verse that my father liked very much, and this is it. Verily, this is that most great beauty foretold in the books of the messengers, through whom truth shall be distinguished from error, and the wisdom of every command shall be tested. Now this verse played a profound influence on his life. I say this because I remember quite distinctly when my sister Lily was courting Imbam, and they made it known to Father that they wanted to get married. Now, for my parents, you have to understand this is going back to the 50s, right? And in those days, it wasn't the custom, if you like, and it wasn't even acceptable for a Chinese girl to marry an Indian. You know, this was not considered appropriate marriage behavior. So I remember very clearly when this incident took place, and Father knew this verse very well, that the wisdom of every command shall be tested. And he realized that this is what the Bahá'í Faith is all about. You know, the Bahá'í Faith has as its central theme the unity of mankind. This is the law that Baha'u'llah gave. And so he realized that if he broke this law, then it meant that he wasn't being a faithful believer. And I dare say, looking back now, that The marriage of Lily and Imam was the very first Chinese-Indian marriage that has brought about so many Chinese-Indian marriages in this country. I think it's a credit that my parents had the foresight, the strength of belief, and the courage to give their consent. And of course, the rest is history when you look back now. Right. My dear wife managed to get hold of this photo. And we decided that we would put this photo for tonight. Now, the early days, you know, we all grew up at number 21, Jalan Pengkelan Ram. And all 7 children were born at home and we grew up in Pengkelan Ram. Now, this is a picture of my parents when they were young and their wedding day. Now, my parents were involved in a near fatal car accident in 1951. I remember that very clearly because I was in Standard 4 at Banda Hele Primary School. And I dare say that it was this accident that became like a wake-up call for Father. He started to find out the